guys, it's Kai and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a hair tutorial on, you guessed it, the hair that I'm wearing right now. Isn't it almost just like a very, very warm brown? No, it's like red. I started off with natural colored human hair from our sponsor Cynosure Hair, so I'll leave all the details down in the description along with the color formula and everything. Anyway, let's jump into the tutorial. Alright, so as I said, we're using natural colored human hair bundles and a frontal from Cynosure Hair. I'm gonna sew the wig together off camera, but I'll dye the bundles and the frontal before I put it all together. Sometimes if I'm doing an all over color, I'd like to dye the hair before I sew the wig together because it's just a little easier when I can work with them separately and lay them flat on a table, versus if it was all sewn onto a wig cap, it's just more maneuvering to get into those nooks and crannies. So I'm starting off by opening up my first bundle and folding it together to lay it down on some tin foil. And a little tip, the way that I sort of keep my bundles all folded together, because the way that they come in the mail is just too tightly rolled up and too tightly wound together. We need all of the hair to be exposed. I'll just fold them back up and connect them with little bobby pins by bobby pinning the ribbons up at the top. And I'm going to lighten it a couple shades to a warm brown color with some powder bleach and 20 volume developer. Bleach is an interesting thing to put on hair. It doesn't lather like color or toner or shampoo. You can't put on a big glob and massage it in with your hands. You have to work in small sections and make sure your brush actually touches every single hair, or else it will come out uneven. So look at the way that I do it. I'm making sure the entire surface is coated white, and also notice how all my brush strokes are going with the direction of hair so nothing gets tangled. When I've covered the whole surface, I have to flip it over because look how much hair is on the back that is still untouched. And you should also be digging into the hair with your hands to see if there's any strands on the inside that weren't coated. Maybe you'll understand why it's easier for me to work with it when the bundles are all separated and I can work with them individually. With the frontal, you're going to have to split it in some sections in order to really get every strand of hair, because we can't open it up like the long bundle that we can unravel and unfold. You'll notice that I also turn it around and I coat the underside of it, as in the lace. The reason why is this coats the knots of the hair to bleach them brown as well. We won't be adding dye to this portion. In fact, we're gonna steer clear of the lace with the red hair dye, but I still bleach it because I want the knots where the hair is tied into the lace to be brown like my scalp and not look like these big black dots. So notice how the first bundle that's sitting off to the side is already turning brown. I'm keeping an eye on it, and I'm keeping these separate timers in my mind for every piece that is processing simultaneously, because the last thing we want is for all of our hair to be bleached to different levels, right? So I let each piece sit for about 15 minutes, and I just rinse it out with water and some conditioner, and this is what the color looks like when it dries. So the red dye that we're using is this L'Oreal High Color Reds. It's formulated for dark hair only, as you can see on the box. So you don't have to bleach your hair super light to get a very vibrant color, is the selling point of this formula. In fact, I've seen girls on YouTube apply this to black hair. I think I could have tried that, but the reason I used bleach was because I was originally going to use a different dye that I ended up not liking. Anyway, I really like the results of what I chose to do, so I'm gonna tell you guys what I did. I mixed together the shades H10 Copper Red and H11 Intense Red. I bought 2 boxes of each color for a total of 4 boxes, and that was sufficient to dye my 3 long bundles in the frontal. I mixed this with 10 volume developer. The box says to use 30 volume, which is a lot, but I reckon that's for the people who are using this on very, very dark hair, and the 30 volume can bleach and lift that darkness. But because we're starting at a brown already, I figured that I don't need that much lifting, so 10 volume was sufficient for what I achieved in the end. This time it doesn't need to be as neat and as efficient necessarily as the application of the bleach, because color, on the other hand, it can be lathered and massaged in, but then again, you still want to make sure you touch every single strand. The frontal takes a little bit more care because you'll stain the lace if you're as messy as I was being with my bundles. I started by applying some Vaseline underneath the lace to protect it in any case that the dye did touch it accidentally. And I could apply the dye to the ends as usual, but in order to fully dye all the roots without staining the lace, I had to work in these vertical sections starting from one ear going to the other. So notice how I'm using the end of my brush to section through the hair super thin, and I apply the dye right to the roots and spread it throughout the rest of the hair. You know, my gloves and my workspace are also dirty that I used paper towels over my hands because I needed to be able to hold on to and weigh down the lace and get a grip of it without smearing my dirty gloves on it. And that's pretty much my technique for dyeing the frontal. Much easier when I can lay it flat like this versus being on the wig cap, right? I left this to sit on the hair for about 20-30 minutes. This color takes forever to rinse out. I'll be honest with you, the rinse water never even really ran fully clear. I had done like dozens and dozens of rinses, okay? It's quite frustrating, but I accepted the fact that it wasn't gonna run clear until maybe a few washes later, a few days later. So I just let it dry anyway, and this is how the color looks like when it air dries. You know, these videos take me a few days, sometimes weeks to film because I like to always let my hair air dry and leave a day or two in between processes just to not overwork the hair, right? Here I'm doing a little bit of tweezing to the hairline to make it look a little more sparse, a little more natural. And then as I said, I'll sew the wig up off camera. You guys have seen me do it before, but stay tuned for an updated, more detailed tutorial on how I do that. So now that the hair is all sewn together into a wig cap, I'm just going to style it with a curling wand. I want to do some nice Hollywood curls, so I'm going to use some really small sections and pinning them up to let them cool in a curled position, and that really helps the curls come out a lot tighter. And then I'll just brush them out and zhuzh it into the way that I want it to look. This is how the finished hair turned out, you guys. I love this shade. I really think this suits me. What do you guys think? What is your favorite hair color on me? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And let me know what else you want to see me do.